Bill Blair, who is the Canadian Defence Minister, clearly realizes the huge damage that has been done to India-Canadian relations because of the immature statement by the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. His statement is an attempt at damage limitation. He categorically stated that relationship with India, particularly the Indo-Pacific strategy, trade, defence and immigration are exceptionally important, and they will continue to pursue this alongside pursuance of the rationale for the killing of Niger.
Bill Blair, the strategy. How would you look at the overall statement of Bill Blair? He said a lot of things about the current critical situation between India and Canada.
I reiterate, his statement is an attempt at damage limitation. He realizes that huge damage has been caused, and this will cause Canada to pay very dearly. Indo-Pacific strategy continues to be of immense importance, as well as relations in terms of defence, trade and immigration. Canada's economy is hugely dependent on Indian immigrants and Indian students, and any flaws in this or any deficiencies in these could cost Canada hugely.
This all started G20 summit. After that, in recent parties, Justin Trudeau said he put up explosive allegations against India and said Indian agents killed Khalistani extremist Hardeep Singh Nijjar, which India has already announced him as a terrorist back in 2020.
Canadian Prime Minister as well as the Canadian government is now realizes that Justin Trudeau's outburst was the greatest blunder and mistake of his career. He has no support within Canada, even within his own party. In fact, people within Canada are asking him as to how a terrorist who's been put on a red corner notice, who's been declared a terrorist by India, who's been involved in criminal activities in India, continues to receive sustenance from Canada. And he has no justification for that. Secondly, his body language, even at United Nations during the press conference, clearly indicates that he's on the back foot and he is realizing the gravity of what he's done. Under the circumstances, he may lose his premiership even before the next election.
After the statement of Canada coming days, or the problem between India and Canada will solve out because the visa problem is still continuing?
India has categorically stated as far as visas are concerned, they are not going to give visas to Canadians. However, those who are applying for OCI cards, they will continue to receive the OCI. As far as other relations are concerned, India has clearly indicated to Canada and the rest of the world that India is no longer a soft state. And India is insisting that Canadians take action against the terrorists and militants who are operating from Canadian soil, from British soil, from American soil, as well as from Australian soil.
Well, we have to understand the background. There are lots of Sri Lankan Tamils in Canada. I don't have right now the numbers. And some of them are well-heeled and they are also articulate. And they, from time to time, come out with statements in support of the ILM, independent ILM, and also against what is called the human rights violations by Sri Lanka, which, as you know, has been discussed at the Human Rights Council in Geneva. So Sri Lanka finds that this is a convenient occasion to speak up against Canada.
He also said that, referring to Justice Trudeau, that no one should poke their nose into other countries and tell as to how we should govern our country.
Yes, Sri Lanka has been saying that, but as you know, the Human Rights Council has passed resolutions, and even India does tell Sri Lanka that the legitimate rights of the Sri Lankan Tamils should be respected. The so-called amendment, you know that. 13th Amendment, should be implemented. See, we are living in an interdependent world, so you cannot say that, nobody can tell us what to do. You know, countries are interdependent.
So on India-Canada row, U.S. State Department spokesperson has said that they are deeply concerned by the allegations referenced by Canadian PM and they are in close contact with their Canadian partners.
Well, what you have to understand is that 18th of September, Prime Minister Trudeau spoke about, quote, credible allegations, unquote, linking an Indian official with the murder of Niger. A few hours later, the Foreign Minister of Canada announced the expulsion of a senior diplomat. There again, she said, if these allegations to be proved true, which means they have not completed their investigation. Now, my question is, how can you take action when you have not completed the investigation? You see, that is only part of the picture. Now, as regards your own question, you see, 19th, United States came out with a statement showing concern and all that. The United States government was criticized by its own media. Then on the next day, 20th, they came out with a revised statement where they said in plain English that United States had asked India to cooperate. And it also came out later that President Biden had taken up this matter with Prime Minister Modi during the G20. You see? So there was a change in the US public stance. But at the same time, I could be wrong. I don't expect, pressure beyond a limit from the United States for two reasons. One is that India is an essential part of United States anti-China policy, the Indo-Pacific, Quad and all that. India is a very, very important member of that project. Secondly, the United States and other Western governments seem to be convinced that Prime Minister Modi is going to be re-elected. And therefore, prudence requires that you don't irritate him, displease him. These are the considerations. But don't forget that it is quite likely that Prime Minister Trudeau will come out with, quote, evidence, including what they got from the Five Eyes, which means in this case the United States, electronic evidence, and maybe they have much more, because I know the RCMP a little. They provided me protection for 3 years when I was there. Now, our commentators and other commentators say, well, apart from these telephonic snoopings, what else do they have?
निज्जर को मारा गया है, वो उनकी इंटर गैंग रेबलरी है, वो कनाडा का मामला है. दूसरी बात, निज्जर जो है, जब कनाडा गया था कई साल पहले, वो फॉल्स पासपोर्ट पे गया था. उसको तो कनाडा ने अरेस्ट करना चाहिए. पूरे खालिस्तानियों को कनाडा सपोर्ट कर रहा है और अमेरिका कनाडा को भी सपोर्ट कर रहा है. जहां तक निज्जर की किलिंग है, भारत का इससे कोई लेना देना नहीं है. ये उनका आपसी का मामला है और वो फालतू फंड में भारत के ऊपर ब्लेम कर रहे हैं.
Tahabur Rana के against, he was in Mumbai hotel days before the terror attack.
Now this ये बड़ा पॉजिटिव स्टेप है. कम से कम चार्जशीट तो हो गई है, क्योंकि अभी ये हमारे हवाले आ गया है. पहले तो ये अमेरिकन जेल में था और अब जाके ये हैंड ओवर हो रहा है, तो अभी इसके ऊपर एक्शन होगा.
एक बड़ा एक्शन है, स्टेप माना जाएगा.
ये तो बहुत बड़ा स्टेप माना जाएगा.
खालिस्तान और डिफेस कर रहे हैं हिंदू टेम्पल्स को.
देखिए, आज भी प्रदर्शन हुआ है इनका, और उस प्रदर्शन में उन खालिस्तानियों ने किया है, कनाडा का झंडा भी अपने साथ लगा दिया है. इससे साफ जाहिर होता है कि कनाडा की सरकार और खालिस्तानी दोनों मिले हुए हैं. लेकिन भारत को इसकी कोई चिंता नहीं है. हम कनाडा को भी संभाल लेंगे, वेस्टर्न देशों को भी संभालेंगे और खालिस्तानियों को भी संभालेंगे. जहां तक भारत का सवाल है, हिंदुस्तान भारत में तो पूरा एक्शन इनके ऊपर चल रहा है और बहुत ही जल्द भारत की जमीन से तो कम से कम निकल जाएंगे।
रशिया की
उसे क्या हुआ है, उनके स्पीकर ने एक बुजुर्ग आदमी को ऑनर किया है, वो मेरे ख्याल से 90 साल का है। ये जो वेटरन है ये पुराना नाजी था। अब जब लोगों ने बताया ये तो नाजी है तब उन्होंने अपोलोजाइज किया, लेकिन ये उनकी आदत है। ये जिस प्रकार से कनाडा है, जेलेंस्की है इस यूक्रेन का, ये इनका बहुत कई सालों से हमने देखा है ये न्यू नाजी पार्टी के उस प्रकार के विचार रखते हैं।
इंटरपोल ने सर रेड कॉर्नर सिंह जो कि खालिस्तानी टेररिस्ट ग्रुप गब्बर खालसा के अंतर्राष्ट्रीय सदस्य,
ये भी एक मुझे लगता है अभी भारत सरकार जो है वो बहुत प्रोएक्टिव हो गई है। पहले तो इस मामले को धीमी ले रही थी। खालिस्तानी जो भारत में थे उनको भी बड़ी खुली रोप दे दी कि ठीक है तुम चलते रहो। अब जाके वो जमाना गया। अभी सरकार मजबूत है, पूरा देश इनके पीछे है और जितने भी खालिस्तानी हैं इन सबको गिरफ्तार कर दिया जाएगा। जो बाहर निकल गए हैं उनके ऊपर रेड कॉर्नर नोटिस आएगा और जो भारत में है उनकी प्रॉपर्टी सीज हो जाएगी।
करणवीर सिंह के लिए रेड कॉर्नर नोटिस इशू करना कितना बड़ा काम?
ये एक बहुत बड़ा स्टेप है।
कनाडा से सर नागरिक जो है उन्हें विजिलेंट रहने के लिए कहा गया, रिमेन विजिलेंट।
ये जो उनकी तरफ से एडवाइजरी आई है वो भारत की तरफ से भी हमने अपने भारतीयों को एडवाइजरी दी है, तो ये टिट फॉर टैट एडवाइजरी चल रही है। हमने उनका वीजा भी स्टॉप कर दिया है, लेकिन उन्होंने वो एक्शन अभी तक नहीं लिया है। ये मैं समझता हूँ एक बहुत दुख वाली कहानी है। अभी केरला में जो है ये जो इस्लामिक मूवमेंट चल रहा है, केरला की सरकार इसको रोकने की कोई खास कदम नहीं उठा रही है। ये फिर से वोट बैंक पॉलिटिक्स आ गई है। अभी अगले साल इलेक्शन होंगे और ये मुसलमानों का वोट लेने के लिए कुछ भी करने को तैयार है। तो ये लेफ्ट, इस्लामिक और सेंट्रिस्ट जो लिबरल पार्टी अपने आप को बोलते हैं, ये तीनों मिल गए हैं बीजेपी को हराने के लिए और बेसिकली मुस्लिम अपीजमेंट अभी तक भी चल रही है।
इसका सर आर्मी के मोराल पर ही बुरा असर पड़ेगा?
नहीं, आर्मी के मोराल पर असर वो उस प्रकार की बात नहीं है। आर्मी तो बहुत बड़ी है और हम अपना देख लेंगे, लेकिन देश के लिए इस प्रकार की हरकत ठीक नहीं है और हम चाहते हैं जल्द ही जल्द केरला सरकार इसके ऊपर एक्शन ले।
Lankan Foreign Minister Ali Sabri regarding the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau statement on India.
I think Mr. Sabri has given a very correct statement. He has supported India. This support is not just because we are friends with Sri Lanka. It is based on principle. Everybody knows that India is the innocent party here, and it is these Western powers, especially Canada, which has been supporting Khalistanis for many, many years, more than 25 to 30 years. उनका गढ़ जो है, the basic structures are in Canada. So what the Sri Lankans are saying is a matter of justice, and it is absolutely correct.